friends! Welcome to the channel! Today we are going to learn the moral of the story of the wolf and the crane. Let's begin. Once upon a time, a wolf had been feasting too greedily, and a bone had stuck crosswise in his throat. He could get it neither up nor down, and of course, he could not eat a thing. Naturally, that was an awful state of affairs for a greedy wolf. Just think about it. Here was a wolf who spent all his days hunting and killing animals, just so he could feast on their flesh. And now he couldn't even swallow a single bite. You can imagine how miserable he must have felt. So away he hurried to the crane. He was sure that she, with her long neck and bill, would easily be able to reach the bone and pull it out. As he approached the crane, the wolf said to her, "If you will pull this bone out of my throat, I will reward you very handsomely." The wolf figured that the crane wouldn't have any problem putting her head inside of his mouth since her neck was so long. All she'd have to do was stick her head in and use her bill to grab the bone and pull it out. It sounded easy enough. The crane, as you can imagine, was very uneasy about putting her head in a wolf's throat. However, she was grasping in nature, so she did what the wolf asked her to do. After she removed the bone from the wolf's throat, he started to walk away. "But what about my reward?" called the crane anxiously. The wolf pretended not to hear her and continued walking away. "Hey, wait a minute," cried the crane. "You promised to give me something for helping you," snarled the wolf, whirling around. "Isn't it enough that I let you take your head out of my mouth without snapping it off? I could have easily broken your neck and killed you when you were stuck inside of me, but I decided not to. That should be reward enough. Don't expect any more from me." And with that, the wolf turned around and trotted off, leaving the crane standing there with nothing but her life. Now, if you're like me, you're probably thinking that this story has a pretty harsh lesson. But before we learn that lesson, let's take a quick look at why. The wolf treated the crane so badly after she helped him. The truth is that the wolf never intended to honor his agreement. Even before he asked the crane for help, he knew that he would not give her anything if she agreed to help him. He simply thought that by offering her a reward, he would convince her to put her head in his mouth. The fact that he offered to reward her was nothing more than a clever lie. The wolf is a perfect example of someone who tries to trick others with empty promises. We should never forget that. However, we must also remember that the crane could have easily avoided this situation if she had simply refused to help the wolf. She knew that putting her head in a wolf's mouth was dangerous, yet she did it anyway. Some people say that the crane was simply too trusting, while others argue that she was simply being kind. But the fact remains that she was willing to risk her life to help someone else. Although we should never be tricked by someone's false promises, we should also remember to be careful with our kindness. If we want to help someone, we should make sure that we're not putting ourselves in danger. Alright friends, Now let's take a look at the moral of the story. The most common version of the moral of this story is do untrust wolves in sheep-esque clothing. This is because the wolf in this story is cunning and deceitful, while the crane is kind and trusting. The wolf is able to fool the crane because he is able to disguise himself as something that he is not. In other words, the wolf is a hypocrite. The Latin word for this is hypocrita, which means actor. Someone who is a hypocrite is someone who claims to have certain beliefs or morals, but behaves in a way that contradicts these beliefs. For example, a person might claim to be honest but lie to others on a regular basis. Or someone might say they are environmentally friendly but pollute the environment without care. Hypocrites are often able to fool those around them, but in the end, they are exposed and their true colors are seen. Another possible moral for this story is that you reap what you sow. This proverb means that whatever you do, good or bad, will eventually come back to you. In the case of the wolf, he had built up a reputation for being mean and aggressive. So when he went to the crane and asked for her help, she should have known that he wasn't being sincere. The wolf's behavior is a direct result of his past actions. He is reaping what he has sown. Another way of saying this same thing is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. No matter what the wolf did, he always caused pain and suffering to others. So it was only a matter of time before he experienced the same thing himself. A third possible moral for this story is that you cannot judge a book by its cover. The wolf appears to be strong and powerful, but in reality, he is weak and helpless. The crane is small and seemingly weak, but she is actually strong and independent. We cannot judge things based on their appearance. Sometimes what appears to be strong is actually weak, and what appears to be weak is actually strong. In the end, friends, this story teaches us to be aware of the dangers of trusting people who are not trustworthy. The wolf is a classic example of someone who uses his charm and charisma to fool those around him. He is able to get what he wants by making false promises and using manipulation tactics. However, in the end, he is exposed and his true colors are seen. We should be careful not to let appearances deceive us and to be aware of the signs of deception. If we are wise and cautious, we can avoid falling victim to the tricks of the wolf. So, what did you think about the story? How did you feel when the wolf didn't keep his promise to the crane? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We are coming up with new stories every day. Thank you for watching. See you next time.